There is a story that few truly know, the story of an ordinary man called to the most painful mission a prophet could receive. He was not sent to announce peace. He was not sent to promise prosperity. He was sent to be the voice of condemnation, the living echo of God's fury against his own chosen people. This is the story of Isaiah, and it begins not with a miracle, but with a death. The year was that of King Uzziah's death, a monarch who had reigned for decades, bringing stability to Judah, but who had ended his days marked by pride. With his departure, the kingdom was adrift, uncertain, exposed, and it was precisely in this moment of emptiness, of national mourning, that the heavens opened for a man named Isaiah, not in any temple, not in a moment of celebration, but at the hour of loss, when everything seemed too fragile to bear. What Isaiah saw was not a dream. It was a reality that tore the veil between heaven and earth. He saw the Lord seated on a throne, most high and sublime, and the hem of his robe filled the entire temple. Around him, flaming beings, the seraphim, covered their faces before the unbearable glory and covered their feet before the very majesty. And from their voices a cry that shook the foundations, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." Pause for a second and imagine what it is like to be there, facing pure holiness, feeling the crushing weight of one's own mistakes before a perfection that does not forgive lies, hypocrisy, or hidden sin. Faced with this, Isaiah felt not admiration, he felt terror. "Woe to me, I am ruined," he cried, "because I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty." He was certain that vision would be his ruin. No one contemplates absolute holiness and remains the same. No one sees the full light without their own shadows being exposed. But what happened next was even stranger than the vision itself. One of the seraphim flew to him, carrying in his hand a glowing ember taken from the altar with tongs, and he touched Isaiah's lips, not to burn as punishment, but to purify as restoration. "Behold, this has touched your lips. Your iniquity is taken away, and your sin is purged." The fire that was supposed to destroy became the fire that healed. The same holiness that condemned him was what purified him. It was then that Isaiah heard the voice of the Lord asking, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" A newly purified man, still trembling before divine glory, still aware of the destruction that such holiness could bring upon a sinful people. And yet, he answered without hesitation, "Here I am, send me." Not because the mission would be easy, but because, after seeing what he saw, he could no longer refuse. From that day forward, Isaiah's path was set, and it was a path of pain. His mission to warn a people who simply did not want to listen. Judah, the kingdom that should have been a beacon of faithfulness, was straying into idolatry, bowing down before foreign gods and seeking empty alliances with powers like Assyria. King Ahaz himself, faced with the threat of enemy nations, preferred to trust in foreign armies rather than in the God who had promised to protect his people. Isaiah saw ruin forming on the horizon. He saw divine wrath gathering like storm clouds. But the people, numbed by their own false security, did not believe. Isaiah announced what no one wanted to hear: that arrogance would be broken, that the temples of false gods would be torn down, that the pride of Judah would be humbled before divine judgment. He prophesied armies sweeping across the land, cities reduced to ruins, and a people reaping exactly what they had sown: centuries of infidelity, of oppression of the poor, of perverted justice, of hearts that had strayed from the covenant. And yet he continued speaking, because that was the cruelest part of his mission, to proclaim the truth knowing it would fall on deaf ears. But amidst so much darkness, Isaiah also received the strangest of revelations, a promise of hope that no one at that time could comprehend. The prophecy of a sign: a virgin would conceive and give birth to a son, and they would call him Emmanuel, God with us. A perfect king, a descendant of the lineage of David who would reign with justice and bring a peace that seemed impossible in the face of so much war and corruption. A peace that, according to his own words, would only come after a devastating storm. Hope did not extinguish judgment, it was born within him. This is the essence of Isaiah's paradox. He saw God's fury rising against the cruelty and unfaithfulness of Israel. But he also saw the seed of a salvation that would only be understood centuries later. He was the voice that announced the impending destruction, and at the same time, the promise of a Savior who would change history forever. And this leaves us with a question that spans millennia. How can hope be born from the deepest condemnation? If this story made you feel the intensity of faith, judgment, and the promise hidden amidst the darkness, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Every week, we unveil the secrets and hidden dramas in the stories that shape the world.